Okay, remember they're changing my voice. This is one of the more important videos as it gets to the characteristics that God is looking for and why it is stupid to cheat me out of my right to lead. I'm going to be discussing, wisdom, insight, discretion, sense, discernment, and sound judgment. And I'm going to go over the scriptures in Proverbs that use these words directly, right? That include these words, where we find these words. And they connect to the whole idea of Proverbs. But these words are the essence of Proverbs. Once you truly understand these words to a T. And a lot of people think they do, but they don't. Okay, you really have to explore these words in a way that is similar to how they're exploring them, and to have the appropriate point of references, the top martial arts. We'll get to that when we get to Proverbs 30, how it points to that it is a martial art order and not the craft or the church or the government or scientists. It's not a Western order of any kind. It's not an Eastern order of any kind. It's specifically a Royal African Falcon top martial arts order, and it has to do with these words and how these words are used in Proverbs. So again, Proverbs 1, purpose and theme. Remember, Jesus said that he is the root and offspring of David and the bright morning star. Solomon was David's son. The Proverbs of Solomon, son of David, king of Israel, for gaining wisdom and instruction, for understanding words of insight, for receiving instruction in prudent behavior, doing what is right and just and fair, for giving prudence to those who are simple, knowledge and discretion to the young. Let the wise listen and add to their learning, and let the discerning get guidance. For understanding proverbs and parables, the sayings and the riddles and riddles of the wise. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. Okay, so I had to switch to the car, a sure sign that I'm right. Let's go over this again. The Proverbs of Solomon, son of David, king of Israel. Remember, Jesus said he's the root and offspring of David and the bright morning star, and Solomon is the son of David. For gaining wisdom and instruction, for understanding words of insight, for receiving instruction in prudent behavior, doing what is right and just and fair, for giving prudence to those who are simple, knowledge and discretion to the young. Let the wise listen and add to their learning, and let the discerning get guidance. For understanding proverbs and parables, the sayings and riddles of the wise. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. Note, the Hebrew for simple in Proverbs denotes a person who is gullible, without moral direction, and inclined to evil. Also, the Hebrew words rendered fool in Proverbs often elsewhere in the Old Testament denote a person who is morally deficient. So simple is gullible, without moral direction, and inclined to evil. And the fool is someone who is morally deficient. I think you should write this down or take a screenshot. I'll put the picture on the screen and edit on your phone so it zooms into that part. Print it out, put it on your wall. That part is very key. That is the purpose of Proverbs. This is why I've gone over Proverbs again and again. I think I've gone over it the whole book, reading through it at least twice. And I've gone over individual chapters quite often in my videos. In this one, there's an emphasis on the words. For example, Proverbs 2:3. Indeed, if you call for insight and cry aloud for understanding, and if you look for it as for silver and search for it as for hidden treasure, then you will understand the fear of the Lord and find the knowledge of God. So it's saying the importance of insight. You need to call out for insight and cry aloud for understanding. You need to look for it like you're looking for silver or hidden treasure. Then you will understand the fear of the Lord and find the knowledge of God. Knowledge of God. Knowledge of God. Not of chemistry or biology or of computer science. Not of physics. Not of the corporate world, the white man's system and game. Not of the street game, the drug game, but knowledge of God. The tree of the knowledge, when it's used in a form that is wicked, right? When we're talking about the tree of knowledge, it's really the knowledge of things of the world, the knowledge of evil, right? Where the knowledge of God is part of the tree of life, the way, the truth, and the life. And we'll get to that. Proverbs 5:1. My son, pay attention to my wisdom. Turn your ear to my words of insight. Okay? So it's when they're using this term in scriptures, okay, it's to emphasize its importance, is to help you understand why to have insight. So you're supposed to call out for insight and cry aloud for understanding, pay attention to wisdom, and turn your ear to the words of insight. So why is this emphasized as this? Because without this, you have nothing at all. You have to be in the divine order, and you have to have wisdom, is insight, discretion, sense, etc. Proverbs 6:26. For a prostitute can be had for a loaf of bread, but another man's wife preys on your very life, your spiritual life, right? Your life in various ways, right? The essence of your life. But a man who commits, going down to verse 32, but a man who commits adultery has no sense. Whoever does so destroys himself. Blows and disgrace are his lot, and his shame will never be wiped away. For jealousy arouses a husband's fury, and he will show no mercy when he takes refuge. He will not accept, when he takes revenge. He will show no mercy when he takes revenge. He will not accept any compensation. He will refuse a bribe, however great it is. So remember, a wife in this context could be a woman, it could be a people, it could be a culture, a religion, a nation, right? You know, daughter Jerusalem, okay, Babylon, the prostitute, right? It could be that. It's all of the above. Someone who commits adultery, okay, has no sense. In case they try to act like I've committed adultery, it is impossible for the Messiah to commit adultery. First of all, because all marriages are invalid but my parents, okay? Well, rather, first of all, because I'm blameless and it is my nature by who I am to only do good, to make my romantic arguments in regards to doing good and to being good. And the particular way I make love has to do with conveying righteousness and justice, and is taken away from by sleeping around and cheating and so on and so forth. So by default, I have these principles intact. Okay, again, but a man who commits adultery has no sense. So the first time we see one of these words used to give us a specific example of what not to do, okay, a specific example other than talking about the importance, right? Cry aloud for it, right? Pay attention, turn your ears to it, right? It's in Proverbs 6:32, and it says, but a man who commits adultery has no sense. So martial and marital is, martial is marital scramble. Okay, it's connected. This is very important. Okay, so adultery, spiritual adultery, cheating God, right, and cheating me, right? God comes through me. If you look, you're following someone else, you're an idolater. Idolatry and adultery are connected. Adulterer and idolater. Adultery and idolatry are connected. So you're following Goliath, you're following the president, you're following some scientist, the Pope or whatever. That's idolatry. You're cheating wisdom and moral precision and insight, which is found in the top martial arts order, and it's not found outside of the order. No true insight, wisdom, sense, etc. is found outside of the top martial artist order. That's why when they put their heads together, they decided to cheat me and edit my videos and stuff, and they couldn't find one person to beat me because I'm smarter than they are, I'm wiser than they are, I'm more insightful, I have more sense, I have more discretion, what have you, more discernment. Proverbs 7:4, say to wisdom, you are my sister, and to insight, you are my relative. They will keep you from the adulterous woman, from the wayward woman with her seductive words. At the window of my house I looked down through the lattice. I saw among the simple, I noticed among the men, a youth who had no sense. Okay, and they go on to say that this youth is going to meet the adulterous woman, which goes back to Proverbs 6, when it says, but a man who commits adultery has no sense. So the next time we come across these words, insight, it says, say to wisdom, you are my sister, and to insight, you are my relative. Again, stressing the importance of it, right? And exploring the importance of it. And there's ways that, people who are related to, like my dad is an insightful person to a large degree,
and I'm his son. So the next most insightful person is almost certainly my father, okay? And I'm satisfied that it is, okay? And he is my relative. So it says, say, when you're an insightful person, say, where should you look first for other insightful persons? Say to wisdom, you're someone in my family, right? You're my sister. And to insight, you're my relative. So there's various applications of that scripture and stressing the importance of it first and foremost, but there's also that so somewhat hidden application. All right, Proverbs 8. So this is the ninth time we're going to see one of these words in this Proverbs. Proverbs 8:9. To the discerning, all of them are right. They are upright to those who have found knowledge. So it says, the Proverbs 8 is talking about how wisdom calls out from the highest point, and it goes on to saying that they say things that are virtue. Wisdom has to do with virtue and moral precision, the boundaries of righteousness and justice. Okay, and it says where wisdom is speaking in a way that really resonates with the righteous, and to the discerning. Okay, all of the words of wisdom are right. They are upright to those who have found knowledge. Choose my instruction instead of silver, knowledge instead of choice gold. For wisdom is more precious than rubies, and nothing you desire can compare with her. I, wisdom, dwell together with prudence. I possess knowledge and discretion. To fear the Lord is to hate evil. I hate pride and arrogance, right? False pride and arrogance. Evil behavior and perverse speech. Counsel and sound judgment are mine. I have insight. I have power. So what does wisdom come with by default? He says, I wisdom dwell together with prudence. I possess knowledge and discretion. Okay? To fear the Lord is to hate evil. The beginning of the wisdom, to fear the Lord is the beginning of the wisdom. So wisdom comes with hating evil, hating false pride and arrogance. People too arrogant and proud to obey God through me. They're hated. Okay, and we see, I've shown the scriptures the other day. I made a video where I showed you that God hates those who don't obey God through me. He hates the perverse. He hates the wicked. And the righteous hate the dishonest, those who are too wicked and dishonest to obey God through me. So people who are outside the divine order are hated, and they need to obey God through me to be loved. And again, I've been saying this, and it seems controversial to those of you who are new, if anyone's new, but it's overkill that I'm right. And there's so many reasons why. What happens when you don't obey God through me? Okay, whoever doesn't gather with me scatters. One who's slack in his work is brother to one who's destroyed. Hey, verse 14. Counsel and sound judgment are mine. I have insight. I have power. Right? They all come together. Wisdom, prudence, knowledge, discretion. Knowledge of God, discretion. Counsel, sound judgment. Okay? Power. Right? The kingdom of heaven is not a matter of talk or written word. It is a matter of power, because you're one with the spirit of righteousness and justice and insight. And the fruit of righteousness is wisdom. From the fruit of the righteous comes wisdom. 15. By me kings reign, and rulers issue decrees that are just. True kings, not kings who are given a mere title in this world, but true kings who have established their throne in justice and righteousness. Proverbs 16:12. By me kings reign, and rulers issue decrees that are just. By me princes govern, and nobles all who rule on earth. I love those who love me, and those who seek me find me. Okay, so if a woman loves me, then I love her as my sister. If a worthy woman loves wisdom, okay, in truth, right? Not in just, I delight in it, but actually submits to it, becomes one with it, then they're not going to reject me for the unwise. With me are riches and honor, enduring wealth and prosperity. My fruit is better than gold. What I yield surpasses choice silver. I walk in the way of righteousness along the paths of justice. There's no being insightful or wise without being in the way of righteousness along the paths of justice.